Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys Jerry Jones stands by NFL's broadcast model at trial. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones told a jury that the NFL's broadcast revenue-sharing model encourages competition, 3 decades after he called the league a price-fixing cartel. Teams such as the Cowboys, the league's most valuable franchise, would win constantly if revenue from media rights wasn't split evenly, because they'd have more funds to stack their teams with top players, Jones said. We would have dominating teams, just a few, maybe just fingers full, and that would reduce fans' passion and hope, Jones told a Los Angeles federal jury during the third calendar week of an antitrust trial over the National Football League Sunday ticket product. I'm convinced I would make a lot more money than the Bengals, Jones said, eliciting laughs from the courtroom. Kalpana Srinivasan, an attorney representing fans and commercial subscribers who sued the league, highlighted Jones's claims in his 1995 court battle with the league over the right to sell merchandising with logos. Jones said in a complaint then that drafts favoring less successful teams, a salary cap and the like help teams maintain competitive balance, Srinivasan said, noting that the pooling of media rights was not part of Jones' equation. Jones said the issues of merchandising rights and broadcast rights are like daylight and dark. The issues he raised in 1995 are distinct because the merchandising suit was centered on brand engagement with the regional fan base, he testified. It's not so much the hat as it is the symbolic "you are now a Cowboy fan," Jones said. Jones didn't denounce his 1995 claims, but said he wouldn't have brought the suit unprovoked. The NFL sued me and I responded, he said. The fans who sued the NFL in 2015 want to revise its broadcast policies to allow for greater access to out-of-market games at lower prices. The NFL could have to pay as much as $21 billion if it loses the trial because damages are tripled under federal antitrust law. In testimony earlier Monday, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell rejected claims that the league colluded with DirecTV to set the price of Sunday Ticket, saying the subscription fee was solely determined by the satellite television provider. Dak Prescott had an interesting MLB jersey choice. Dak Prescott has been the face of the Dallas Cowboys for the last several seasons, and thus one would expect him to show an allegiance to all of the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex's other sports teams. However, as he arrived at Tight End University to throw some passes to the other attendees, it seemed as if he isn't loyal to those squads. He was seen wearing a New York Yankees jersey instead of a Texas Rangers jersey, per Ari Merev. The Rangers play in the Metroplex and are the defending World Series champions, although they are struggling so far this season. Prescott is heading into the final year of his contract and isn't close to an agreement with the Cowboys on an extension, and his choice of jersey will inevitably lead to some thinking he's on his way out. He has been one of the NFL's best quarterbacks over the last few years, and for a moment late last season, he was a leading candidate for the regular season MVP award. There's no denying Prescott's talent and skill, but in the playoffs, he has consistently performed poorly. Last season, he threw 2 early interceptions in the wild card round, allowing the Green Bay Packers to build a 27-0 lead and cruise to an easy win. There are those who feel Dallas should and perhaps could simply let Prescott become a free agent next offseason and see how things go until then. If that happens, could he look to become a member of the New York Giants? The Dallas Cowboys and their quarterback Dak Prescott are in yet another contract situation. The former Mississippi State star is coming off of his best season as a pro after he threw a career-best 410 completions and a career-high 36 touchdowns. Proposed trade has Cowboys reunite with former $22 million receiver. The Dallas Cowboys could use an upgrade when it comes to their depth at the wide receiver position. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox proposed a trade scenario that would see the Cowboys reunite with one of Dak Prescott's former targets, Cedrick Wilson Jr. The 28-year-old is currently a member of the New Orleans Saints after signing a 2-year deal with the NFC team this offseason. However, as Knox mentions, the Saints have a pretty stacked core at wide receiver, with established players such as Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed along with Equinemius St. Brown and youngsters such as second-year man A.T. Perry and fifth-round pick Bub Means. That could lead to Wilson having a difficult time finding a spot on the roster, and that could lead to a trade before the season starts. If the Saints deem Wilson expendable by the end of camp, they could look to acquire some draft capital and $1.4 million in 2024 cap space by trading him, Knox wrote. If that happens, Dallas should be very interested. Wilson enjoyed the best season of his 5-year career during the 2021 season while serving in the number 3 role for the Cowboys. It was during that season that Wilson posted 45 receptions for 602 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns, all career highs. However, Wilson would then sign a 3-year, $22.8 million deal with the Miami Dolphins during the 2022 offseason with the expectation that he would play a major role alongside Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. However, Wilson found himself buried on the depth chart, posting just 12 receptions for 136 receiving yards during his first season in Miami. His second season was slightly better, but he was still low on the pecking order for Dolphins receivers. He posted the 7th most receptions of any player on Miami's roster, 22 receptions, and finishing the season with 296 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Returning to Dallas when they're lacking experienced and proven receivers beyond veteran CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks would likely mean Wilson would return to the number 3 role and give him a chance to revive his career. Wilson spent the first 4 years and 3 seasons of his career, he was on injured reserve as a rookie, with Prescott and the Cowboys and had a breakout campaign in 2021, writes Knox. He had 45 catches, 602 yards and 6 touchdowns that season as Dallas' number 3 receiver. With this theoretical trade, he could return to that role in 2024. The Cowboys' current receivers behind Lamb and Cooks are Jalen Tolbert, Cavonte Turpin and 6th-round rookie Ryan Flournoy. Those receivers have a combined total of 37 receptions for 416 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns during their careers with just 7 total starts. In other words, the Cowboys are banking on inexperienced and unproven receivers to replace veteran Michael Gallup, who was released in the offseason. Considering Wilson hasn't had a productive season in years and when factoring in that New Orleans may not have much of a use for him, the Cowboys could acquire him for a low draft pick such as a 6th-round selection or a 7th-round pick if a trade were to come to fruition. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Cedrick Wilson? Leave your opinion in the comments.